Hey guys, what's up? And welcome to another episode of Brew and Build. Today we are back here in the Steampunk City and we did some work last episode. If you haven't seen last episode, we made this creation, and this is the Saltpeter Curator, I think is what it's called. And so it's just a way for us to purify the saltpeter. And I think it looks really cool. I think it's turned out very nice. So basically, the saltpeter goes in there, goes through a chemical process, is then drained into here, will be filtered out. And as you can see, the starts off with the diorite texture being our saltpeter, being right here, and then getting filtered less and less, and then it'll eventually drain back down into the ocean. And I think that's good. So we've got saltpeter all over the place because it is kind of powdery. I think it's really nice. I like it. Now today we're not going to actually be building in the Steampunk City really at all. And what we're going to be doing is I figured, we need to source the saltpeter. So we need to figure out how we're going to actually be getting the saltpeter, because it's something you kind of have to mine. It's not really anything that you can get naturally. So what I figured today we could do is I've got a lot of new textures to look at. You're probably seeing some of them now. I'm trying to keep things moving so you can't really see them. So I've got a lot of new textures, and I want to go over them in a kind of a unique way. And so I think I have a good idea as to how to do it. So let's take a fly on over to the Mesa where we're going to be going today to build. And this is all for sourcing the saltpeter as well. So I had an idea that instead of just showcasing all these new textures in the typical, like, go into a test world and take a look at them, I figured let's use them in a build. Now there are 26, I think, new textures. And as you can see, we have a little bit of a plan going on over here. No, this is not going to be a crazy long build. I don't want it to be. It's going to probably be longer than I'm expecting it to. Let's actually get up here. But my goal is to get a lot of this done today, a lot of the blue houses, especially today. Don't know how much, but we're going to try and get a lot of it done. All right, so I changed shaders. These are a little bit nicer quality, I think, for this stuff. And so what we're going to be doing today is making the source of the saltpeter, kind of defining where that is. And that's going to be actually right over there. You can see the red trail leads to that cave. That is a naturally spawned cave. I did build up a little pathway here just so it can be a little nicer here. That is going to be our saltpeter mine. So we're going to have our saltpeter mine there. And there's going to be just this pathway that leads right over to this pink area right here. Now, this area is going to be a big dock, moderately big dock area. And this is going to be where an airship or two can come in, load up on saltpeter, and go off to the Steampunk City. And so the pink is Steampunk City builds. The idea is that these blue areas are the native people. So there was originally a native group of people that were just kind of here on their own. And the white area here is for a salt flat, which is going to take up that entire little chunk right there. So they were attracted to this place and built their home because of the salt that is naturally formed here. If you don't know what a salt flat is, basically, the way I understand it is it gets filled with ocean water, and then eventually the ocean recedes back a little bit. It can then evaporate, leave all the salt behind, people can gather it, all that stuff. And so they were attracted to the salt, and so that's why these people are here. And then the city was looking for a good source of saltpeter, came here, and I want to think that the city of Brassington is more of a diplomatic society. And so they have struck up a bargain relationship with these natives where they're interested in their salt, for one. That's what drew them here first. Then they were actually kind of luckily found that there was a cave with saltpeter here. So they've struck a bargain. This will be like an office building that administrates all the ins and outs of the place. This is going to be kind of just like a residing dormitory area for the miners, and then there'll of course be mining stuff. I'm going to probably clear that little chunk right there and make that sort of a little storage area. And then all the blue is going to be this Mesa biome village. And that's going to be, it's going to be a really simple build style, and that's why I don't think it's going to take me nearly as long. Today we're going to be tackling basically as many of these as we possibly can, because I want to take a look at all the new textures. So that is what we're going to be doing today, and I'm going to do it in the form of a time lapse. I want to try and do this a little bit more uniquely than just going into a test world. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get on in. I'll continue explaining what I want from all of this in the time lapse, but let's go ahead and get on into it. I don't want to keep y'all waiting. And then at the end of the episode, we will go into a test world, do the typical look at things real close up. But I wanted to do this in a fun, unique way to start things off. So without further ado, let's jump into a time lapse. All right, guys, so starting off, we have to start building up the individual houses, and I decided let's make this more of just like a terracotta house. I'm not sure if this is like an Adobe style house. That's the thing that comes to mind when I'm thinking about these types of houses, but I don't know exactly what style they're in. I chose to do a very colorful palette because they allow us to use all the different wood types, and basically we're going to be having all the different wood types in here represented to show you the textures is like the entire purpose of this video. But I also wanted to sort of show how the Steampunk City is able to trade with this village to be able to get all these new resources and wood types, and so they've been able to kind of deck their houses out with all these new unique wood types, and so that's why there's so much variety here, because they have access to the Steampunk City. And so now what we're doing is we're getting into the actual spruce wood itself, and you can see we've got some of the new trapdoor textures, and I really like what they have turned out to be. I tried to keep it very vanilla feeling, but making it a little bit different and a little bit more interesting, I suppose, instead of just vertical banding, having some horizontal banding. One thing I did realize in the middle of creating this is I need to shove the bottom bar down by 1 pixel. It's actually a little bit off compared to the rest, but I think it's turned out really great. And so the textures I've changed are the log textures, the stripped log textures, trapdoors, and doors. And so I just really like how everything's turned out. I think everything is very cohesive now, but it all still feels very vanilla. That's the goal that I've got. And so here we've got a nice overview, and you can see the door there also has a similar look and feel. Feels very vanilla, but is a little bit of our own take on it. And now we're going to be getting into, I'm playing around with what I want to do on that building, but now we start getting into Acacia, and I love how the Acacia door and trapdoor have come to be. So I took a lot of inspiration from B00 and found that his door was very inspiring, and so you can see our door is very similar to his. There is a much larger window at the top of it, very similar layout otherwise, but the trapdoor I wanted to try and keep that original sort of like screen feeling, but I've made it smaller, and I think it's a nice take on it. Still feels very vanilla, and I just love how the Acacia in itself has actually turned out. Originally I was trying to be very, very unique with everything, and you know, sometimes taking inspiration from people and making it your own is the better route, I think. And so I think I've done that with Acacia. I did actually start off making it with the Acacia trapdoor because I wanted to make something unique. Here's a nice overview. I don't know what it is, but Replay Mod darkens doors right now, and it's really weird. But you can get a good look at the trapdoors, and I think it looks really nice. Now we're getting into the oak, and you can see the new oak door down there is solid and has some larger rectangles, and I've actually made it so it's almost like the normal oak door texture is like everything is extruded in to the door or beveled in or what have you. And I've made it so it feels like it's actually beveled out. It's still flat with the surface, but it feels more like a modern door a little bit, and I like how it's turned out. Now the trapdoor I did not touch at all. I love the oak trapdoor, and so I figured, you know what, we're not going to be doing anything with that. No point in doing that. And you can see even the spruce trapdoors down there go very well with this. And I really like how the oak door itself looks, and I think it looks actually really nice and still feels pretty Minecrafty, but I wanted a little bit of a unique spin on things. And very soon we will be getting into a nice overview here, and of course the door texture is very dark, and I'm sorry about that. We will be taking a look at it up close and personal, but I think it looks really nice. Now we're getting into one that is it might be controversial, I don't know. I've changed it quite a bit. The dark oak door, I really don't like the dark oak texture, dark oak door texture. I'm not a big fan of the chocolate bar feeling, and so you can see down there we've got a pretty crazy different door. It's got a rounded window, and I tried to make it more of a dark medieval type of door, and the trap door itself is actually pretty interesting as well. I really like both of these textures, but the trapdoor in specific I am not sure about. You'll have to give me your feedback on this, because I really just don't know how to feel about the trapdoor, because it's the same feel as the top of the dark oak door, and it kind of can act as a window, but I'm not sure if I like that. I may make it just a solid texture, and I'm not really sure. Now getting into the overview, we've got the dark oak door. You can see a little bit better, but still pretty dark. And the top right has the dark oak trap door. Give me your thoughts on that, because it is definitely different. But now what we're doing is getting into birch. And the birch was interesting. I wasn't really sure how it would work in this style. I think it works okay. This village is not going to be like, I'm not spending a lot of time here. I'm trying to just kind of knock this out for purposes of showing you these things. I thought this was just a fun way to do it. The birch is actually now one of my favorite blocks. I mean, look at the trapdoor. You can see it's a little bit more of that Japanese paper style, and it's got a little more unique of a pattern, I suppose. And I really like what it has turned out to be. I think it looks really good. It'll work in a Japanese style for windows. In this case, I think it works really well for the planters. You can see the door there also matches that pattern. It's a little bit different. Still has that very Minecraft birch door feeling. I did tone down the yellow to match our planks, and I think it looks very good. Now the strip logs, I didn't tone down the yellow because I don't really think it's that bad, but in the overview you get a really nice view of both, and I think it looks really nice. I really like how birch looks now. I think it looks super cool, really nice. Now we're getting into the jungle, and the jungle is, I'm not sure. I really like the jungle door. I took it from BOO and altered it quite a bit, but I altered it in a way that makes it unique, I think. I didn't like, his doesn't have a window, and I like the doors that have windows a lot, because then you can see outside. They add a little bit of depth because you can see also inside when you're on the outside. And his doesn't. So I changed the texture a bit, altered it so it did have a window, and I really tried to make it a little more unique to us. It is still very close to his. His extends down further into the door, though, the metal grating that you're starting to see now. And the shape of ours is a little bit more unique. And here's a view of the trapdoors on top. I use these as kind of like a skylight, and I think they look really cool. The trapdoors I'm not sure about. You'll have to let me know your thoughts on these. But here we have a nice overview of the door. You get a little bit better look of the door, and I like the door. I think it has turned out great. It's really the trapdoor that I'm not so sure about. We'll take a better look at it later on, though. But now what we're going to be doing is I'm just going to kind of fade my voice out and just let you enjoy the rest of the time lapse. There's about 3 more minutes of it, just building up the rest of these buildings, and finish it out real quick, and then we'll take a look-see in first person to look at all these textures without some of the weird graphical issues. All right, guys, we are done with the time lapse. Hope you enjoyed that. I'm actually really liking how this place is turning out. I did a little bit more work, but not really much of anything. Shallowed this out, added some green stuff in there. But let's take a look at all these trapdoors, doors, and wood textures. So here is the spruce up close and personal. I think it looks really, really nice. You can see the resemblance of the vanilla texture, but I think it looks really nice as our own unique texture. And this is the part I was talking about. This is 1, 2, 3 block pixels, and this is 1, 2. So I'm going to scoot this guy down so that he matches that. Gives a little bit more room in here as well, which I think will be good. But this is the spruce texture, and I think it looks really nice. And then let's look at the dark oak, because this one is pretty controversial. So here is the dark oak door, and I think this looks pretty good as well. And the trap door is where I'm not so sure about. So you're gonna have to let me know what your thoughts are on this trap door. Do we keep the window? Do I just make it planks on the inside, or do I do something entirely different? Let me know down below, because this is quite a bit of a different texture. And here we have really the only thing in oak that really changed, the oak door. And I think this oak door looks really nice. You can see the beveling that I have done here. This is actually the stripped log texture. I try to use original Minecraft textures to make the doors and other textures work together, so they all flow well with Minecraft textures, because they're still relatively original Minecraft textures. Now moving on, here is acacia, and I gotta say, I really do enjoy what the acacia trapdoor looks like. I mean, it's pretty nice. It's got little hinges here. Don't even necessarily need those hinges. I'm not sure if I want them or not. If you don't want them, let me know. If not, they're just gonna stay. But I basically I made this, and then I went and made this, and this is what BWO has, one that is just a pixel of holes right here at the top, and I think this works very nice, and I like this larger window section. I think this works a little bit better, and I really like how acacia has turned out. So this is the new acacia wood trapdoors and door. Now here is the birch, and I really love what this birch looks like. I think this looks so good. And here you can see it over here as well. Works really well. This is like a little Santa place, a kind of red and white and snow. I don't know why I think it's Santa, but it kind of reminds me of Santa Claus. But here is the door. I think the door looks really nice. I really like these textures. I think they look really, really good. And then finally, we have the jungle wood, and this is quite a different texture. So this is what I mean by it looks kind of like BWO's texture. I think it looks good though. I made it actually kind of like his is just straight all the way down, and mine comes in a bit, and you can actually, you can see through it. I think it looks really nice. So the jungle wood, we're back to the normal texture, and that's because the green is just too far away. It's great to build with, and I love it, but I really want our texture pack to be like a vanilla plus. I want it to be very, I guess, vanilla friendly. So if we turn everything off, it still looks nice, and everything still looks good, just looks better in our texture pack, or at least in my opinion. Here's the trapdoor. You can see the trapdoor right there. I think it looks really nice. Something unique I found about this is, I think on the inside here, is it the inside of this one? No. Okay, but here's the trapdoor. You can see a nice lit up version of that. It does have hinges and stuff, but it doesn't really mind bug me that much. I think these are good. So let's see, what is the unique thing I wanted to show you? Oh yes, something unique about this is if you layer them, because they're directional, you can make this kind of cool little thing. I'm not really sure what to call it, but it's kind of cool. I like it. And so that is all of the wood textures that we've done. Let's go ahead and take a look in the test world just to look at some more textures. And off camera, I'm going to continue finishing up. We have some houses I didn't get to here. So the plan real quick on these is that we're just going to build these up similar to these. Still have quite a few houses. This is one, And what we're going to do is I'm going to build up all these. That is going to be like a little temple type of thing. There's going to be a little shrine right here. And then I'm going to try and just knock the town out. So next episode may start with a time lapse, finishing everything out. I'm not really sure. And then I want to get into the actual salt mine, which will be down at the end of the road over there. And then potentially even getting into the salt flats themselves, because I don't want to spend too much time here. I don't want this to be super long, so I'm going to try and do as much work here as possible off camera. But I really think this place is starting to look really cool. I like it. It's kind of a one-off random build. I know none of you probably saw this one coming, but I really like how this is turning out. I really like how this place feels, and I think it's pretty unique. So let's jump into a test world to look one final time at these textures, because I have a few other new ones to show you as well. All right, so I have this testing world where I've been kind of checking to see and make sure all the sort of textures together look great. So here are the doors again, and they are just flat, and you can make this nice little paneling here. I think this looks really nice. You can see the darkening now a little bit better on the logs, and I did do that also on the strip logs, just not as much. The oak, you can see everything kind of blends together. It looks cohesive and nice. I like making these little things right here. And so the oak door looking very good. I like it. Spruce is pretty good as well. Everything's going well together. I really like the wooden framed windows, because I think they look really nice with this wooden texture here. And here is the texture just by itself. I think it looks really good. And then same for these, also looking very snazzy. Now comes a new texture. Looky here. This is TNT. So one of you, Scream Fortress, you have requested TNT to be redone. And sorry if you hear females yelling in the background while screaming. I suppose that's just my wife. She has a friend over, and they're both a little loud. Don't tell her though. She watches the videos occasionally, and I don't want her to know. So here is the first of the variations. I went with a red barrel, and the other texture is this, which is just a normal brown barrel. And I didn't know this at the time, but I guess Jeremsy Boy has a texture just like this, and I'm actually pretty sure that they're like straight up the same, except for the red one, of course. I did alter that, but didn't know that is, but I guess great minds think alike, and I think this looks really nice. And this was a great suggestion, Scream Fortress, so thank you so much for that. This is going to make our octa-core look so much nicer, having barreled TNT. I think this also is a little bit more realistic, considering that TNT doesn't usually just lie around in sticks. I don't think we would want that. It's not very safe. So, and the texture did, as you saw over here, the texture did go into the minecart. Looks pretty good. I like it. Of course, the new what's it called, scaffolding block, I used stripped dark oak to make this, and then altered the color on this a little bit to make it pop a little bit more, but I think it looks pretty good. This is the dark oak door in a much better view right here, and here you get a really nice view of the colors. I think it looks really good. I really do like it quite a bit. And then the trap door. Here's the trap door. Not sure how to feel about it. I like it and I don't. So let me know if you think it's good. We'll keep it. Here it is again by itself. I think it looks good. I just am not sure how to feel about it. I may get rid of these little white flecks. I tried to make like little glass reflections, but I think I'll just get rid of it since this one doesn't have it. And now we have a new crafting table, and it's a simplified version. I saw Jeremsy Boy make one of these and simplify his down back to more of an original texture, and I think that was a good idea. I was also honestly not a huge fan of our our crafting table texture, so I'm glad it's back to feeling a little more vanilla, using vanilla colors. I did add a new hammer onto the side. I think this looks nice. This is a direct copy, except for the actual handle itself, from I believe the Tool Forge, and so just a bigger hammer. I think it looks really nice. Getting into the jungle, we've got a nice view of the jungle trapdoors, and you can get a good feel for what everything looks like. And this is why I wanted to go back to the original textures of the planks. You can see it all goes better now, and I think it looks really nice. And I actually really like this sort of jungly desert feel. I think this is a really cool feeling, texture, and like a palette, I suppose. And now birch. I love how this turned out. This looks really good. I tried to actually make a little bit more of a modern feeling kitchen, and I think it turned out really nice. I don't usually do modern type of things, but I think it looks really cool. Tried to mess with some fun item frame stuff. Here we have the door texture you can see really nicely, and even you can see the planks and the trap door actually go really well together now. So I tried to alter the colors to be closer together, and I think it looks really, really nice. And then these actually make really nice backings for chairs. I think they look really good too. You can see the outline here as well on the dark. This one was probably the hardest because I had to actually do some more alterations because it's a little bit more of a unique texture. But I think it looks really nice. And here we can see them for what they are by themselves. Still think they look really good. They go really well together. And then here are the jungle variants. Now, I think that is going to do it for today, guys. I have had actually quite a bit of fun doing all these textures, and I hope you have enjoyed seeing them. I hope you like them. So the idea is I'm going to try and get a Patreon up as fast as I possibly can. Still working on it, but the goal is to have a Patreon up soon so that the Patreon can be the source for this like work in progress texture pack. I think that's how we're going to do it. It'll be a reward for the first or middle tier, not really sure. And then we can kind of go from there. So if you guys like it and you want to be able to support the creation of it, support the channel, help out, put back into the channel, that is going to be sort of the source for this. And so I hope you have liked it. I hope you enjoyed all these textures and the video today. A little bit different, and I think it was a really fun one. So without further ado, I'll let you guys go. And if you like the video, leave a like in real life. If you like the textures, leave a like in real life. You know. And then I will see you guys in the next episode.